In a distant land, far into the future, with no music, who will unlock the sounds of the past?
I repeat,
Do not fear. Sound Impact is here. Sound Impact musicians stand united on board their time travel machine, venturing around the world through time, discovering musical treasures. Time to travel.
Overcoming?
Adversity.
Overcoming?
Adversity.
Overcoming.
Adversity.
Overcoming?
What is adversity? And what does it mean to push through or overcome adversity?
Great question, Amy. Adversity is something that challenges you. It can be trying something new that seems really hard, or it could be a big test that's coming up on material that's really hard to understand. It can be something really embarrassing, like falling and hitting your face on a railing on picture day at school and getting a scar on your face. Let me ask you a few quick questions about when adversity might have affected you. Is adversity when you get to eat ice cream before dinner? No. Is adversity when your parents let you buy anything you want at the store? No. Okay, those were easy. How about, is it adversity when you have to mow the lawn to get your allowance? Maybe. How about one more? Is adversity when you have to face a villain or maybe deal with a bully at school? Absolutely. Adversity comes in all shapes and sizes and affects everyone in different ways. Rebecca, Danielle, and Tiffany are now going to introduce just the beginning of a musical storytelling about someone who faced adversity every single day just by being who they are.
The Trouble with Ben is a story about a bear that goes to school with human children. He has a hard time fitting in with all of the other kids because, after all, he is a bear.
Have you ever felt like you were different from everyone else? Did you ever think maybe you should be proud of those things that make you different?
Ben realizes he should just be himself and that it's okay to be different. Then, everyone accepts him as a bear too.
I know that in episode 4, we learned how music affects our feelings while watching movies. Well, let's watch some more examples to see how music can portray adversity.
I'm Professor Fiddlestein. I'd like to talk about ways music can make you feel. Can you think of a few words that describe the last piece you just heard? Intense. Yes. Wailing. Perhaps. Struggle. Possibly. Remember, there is no right or wrong answer. There can be many different words and emotions that you, as the listener, can take from it. Why did it sound intense to me, you ask? Well, the dynamic was fortissimo. Some parts even sounded like a wailing siren, like this. there was struggle from the clashing dissonant chords. Do you know this word? Dissonance. Dissonance is when the notes clash or sound like they don't quite fit together. It sounds very uncomfortable, like this. Ooh, that feels uncomfortable to play too. Let's listen to another piece and see what words or emotions you can come up with. But there are other emotions too, like heroic and brave, like a superhero. Who is your favorite superhero? Wonderful! Let's now travel to meet composers that faced adversity in their lives and find out how they persevered to overcome that struggle. They used music to express themselves. Let's go meet our first composer. Time to travel.
Don't worry, your computer audio isn't broken. I just wanted to give you a feeling for what our next composer, Ludwig van Beethoven's life was like. Beethoven was somebody who used to be able to hear, but slowly lost his hearing over time until he went completely deaf and couldn't hear anything. Despite this adversity, he continued to compose. Can you imagine writing music while deaf? That'd be like closing your eyes and painting a beautiful, detailed picture. Luckily, his imagination and will to overcome his disability was far stronger than the despair he felt about losing his hearing. Here, in his own words, is a letter he wrote to his brothers.
But what a humiliation when one stood beside me and heard a flute in the distance, and I heard nothing. Or someone heard the shepherd singing, and again, I heard nothing. Such incidents brought me to the verge of despair. Only art it was that withheld me.
Beethoven even conducted the premiere of his Symphony No. 9. He got completely apart from the orchestra, but the greatness of his music lives on. You might recognize the Ode to Joy theme from the last movement. Believe how effectively he uses his imagination. Let's go meet another composer who faces an entirely different type of adversity.
Time to travel.
Now we're going to meet someone who has a completely different type of adversity to overcome. Women didn't used to have the many basic rights that we take for granted today. Ethel Smythe was an English composer that was also a strong advocate for women's suffrage. Suffrage means the right to vote. She was even arrested protesting for this right in the United Kingdom. We'll be talking more about protests, voting, and the music of revolution in the next time travel episode, but I wanted to familiarize you with Ethel Smythe's piece, March of the Women. This piece became an anthem for women's suffrage movement. She used her music to inspire people.
Life with this duty, hear the voice, oh hear and obey. This, beckon on us, open your eyes, oh the blaze of day.
Even when women's suffrage was achieved in 1918 in the UK and 1920 in the US, the struggle for women's equality didn't end. To this day, there are many more men than women composers and conductors. Let's go meet another female composer in the US.
Time to travel.
Up, and away!
Price was one composer who was inspired to mix her own cultural heritage into the traditions of classical music. She would often blend Black American songs, spirituals, and dances into her compositions, and those would be heard largely by a white-attended concert hall. In 1933, when the Chicago Symphony performed Price's Symphony No. 1, it was the first time a female person of color had a work performed by a major orchestra.
You ready? Time to travel.
Up, and away!
Another American musician overcoming adversity in the form of racist barriers was the renowned opera singer Marian Anderson. As a black person in 1939, Marian Anderson wasn't allowed to give a performance to an integrated audience. The First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt, heard about Anderson's struggles and became an advocate for her. With the help of the First Lady, the NAACP, and other organizations, Marian Anderson gave a performance on Easter Sunday at a huge, famous outdoor location for a crowd of 75,000 and millions more listening in on the radio. I hope we're not too late for the performance. Can you guess where the concert is? Amazing performance. Can you imagine how nervous you'd be? And if you guessed the Lincoln Memorial, you were correct. Now that we're almost back to the present day, Rebecca wants to share a piece of music with us that helped her overcome the adversity of losing someone close to her.
Time to travel. Up, and away!
I asked my good friend Polina to compose that violin solo in honor of my violin teacher David Arbin after he passed away. I was sad to lose him, but her music became my companion and helped me move through my sad feelings. Without using words, every time I play this piece, I feel like I'm celebrating his life and everything he meant to me. I'm thankful that the language of music helps me to express my feelings whenever I have trouble finding the words.
Thanks for sharing, Rebecca. Sometimes overcoming adversity just means blowing off some steam, getting silly, and letting out your feelings.
Thanks for joining us today on our time travel adventure. You have learned many things, but there is still a lot of music we must uncover from the past. Until we meet again, your mission is to think about a time when you overcame a challenge. How did it help you grow? Join us for our next time travel adventure when we learn about music of revolution. Up, up, and away!